The house was built in 1973. Nothing special, 2 floors, narrow windows, beige walls. The kind of place that never looked haunted because it didn't need to. It was the kind of house that hid its darkness in plain sight. Ethan had moved in 3 months ago. He worked late shifts at a nearby factory, came home at dawn, slept during the day. The house stayed cold, even in the afternoons when sunlight hit the living room. But what bothered him most was the sound. At first it was faint, a scratching deep inside the walls, like a mouse maybe, or pipes cooling down. But as days went by, the sound started following him. From the kitchen to the hallway, from the hallway to his bedroom, always just behind the plaster between the beams. He tried to ignore it, until one night as he turned off the lights, the sound stopped. Total silence. Then slowly, a knock, 3 times, from inside the wall right behind his bed. He froze. The air felt heavier, his breath loud in the dark. The knock came again, faster this time. He switched on the lamp, pressed his ear against the cold wall. Something was moving, slow, dragging, and then a whisper. Not words, just breath, like someone exhaling too close to the surface. He stepped back, grabbed his phone, turned on the flashlight. The wall was clean, no holes, no cracks. Yet the sound grew clearer, louder, as if the wall itself was breathing. That night, he didn't sleep. The morning light felt fake. It made the house look softer, like it had never held darkness. Ethan walked through every room, following the walls with his hand. He tapped, pressed, listened. Sometimes it sounded hollow, sometimes solid. In the living room, near the corner where the wallpaper peeled, he heard it again. A faint scrape, like fingernails dragging slowly against wood. He froze, heart hammering. The sound stopped when he did. He took a knife from the kitchen drawer and pressed it against the wallpaper. The tip trembled as he sliced it open. Behind the layer of paper, there was just plaster, gray, uneven. He tapped again. Something tapped back. He stepped away, eyes wide. The sound was deliberate this time, 3 soft knocks, in rhythm with his heartbeat. He whispered to himself, "It's just pipes, just pipes." But deep inside, he knew it wasn't. That night, he left his phone recording while he slept. The next morning, he played it back. For hours, there was nothing. Then, around 3:17 a.m., the microphone picked up breathing. Long, slow inhales. And then a voice, low, broken, whispering a name. His name. Ethan threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and slid to the floor, still playing. The whisper was now a hum, deep and uneven, like a melody played through teeth. He pressed his palms to his ears. The sound didn't stop. It wasn't coming from the phone anymore. It was coming from inside the wall. By the 3rd night, the noise had changed. It wasn't scratching anymore. It was moving, slow, like something crawling just behind the plaster, searching for a way out. Ethan couldn't take it anymore. He dragged a chair to the living room wall, set up his phone light, and picked up a hammer. The air was heavy. Dust hung like fog. He hesitated only once before swinging. The hammer hit hard. The sound echoed through the whole house. Again, again. Cracks split through the plaster, revealing something black behind it. Something damp. He leaned closer. The smell hit him first. Rot, wet wood, and something else, old metal and blood. He widened the hole with shaking hands. Behind the drywall wasn't insulation or wiring. It was wood, dark and wet, almost pulsing. He reached in, fingers brushing something soft. Then something grabbed him. He screamed, stumbling backward. His hand was covered in a thin, dark slime. The hole pulsed once, like a heartbeat, and from deep within, a low sound began. Not a voice, not human, a vibration, deep and constant, like something awakening. He ran to the kitchen sink, scrubbing his hand until his skin burned. The dark slime wouldn't wash off. He lifted his head and saw movement in the reflection of the window behind him. Something was standing by the hole, something tall. But when he turned around, the room was empty. The hole was still there, though, and something inside it was breathing faster. Ethan didn't go to work that day. He couldn't. The house felt different now. The silence had weight. Every breath, every creak, felt like something listening. He sat on the floor with his laptop, searching the address. No record of previous owners. No photos. No sale listings. The house, according to the public registry, had never been sold. He frowned. Impossible. He had papers. He'd signed them. He dug through the drawer, pulling out the purchase documents. But the name of the seller was blank. It wasn't a name. It was just a smear of ink, like someone had tried to erase it. His stomach tightened. He called the agency. The number didn't exist anymore. When he checked the website, it redirected to a funeral home in another city. He sat there, staring at the wall he had broken. The hole had dried. The black slime was gone. But around it, faint marks had appeared, handprints. Small, dozens of them. He took a photo with his phone. In the picture, the handprints were clearer, not children's hands. They were too long, the fingers stretched unnaturally. And behind them, in the photo's shadow, was a shape. A tall figure, standing in the dark corner behind him. He turned instantly. Nothing. Just the air vibrating, faintly, like a heartbeat under the floor. He packed his things that night, or tried to. But every time he reached the door, he heard something from behind the walls. Whispers, faint and echoing. Not calling him, warning him. Then, as he grabbed his car keys, every light in the house flickered. For half a second, the reflection in the window showed 3 shadows standing behind him. When the lights returned, he was alone again. Or maybe he wasn't. The floorboards started moving at night. Not creaking, moving. He could feel the vibration through the mattress. Steady, like something crawling beneath the foundation. He followed the sound down to the basement door. It was always locked, ever since he moved in. He'd never questioned why the key had been missing. But now, the door was shaking, rattling softly, as if something behind it was breathing. He kicked it open. Dust exploded into the hallway, thick and sour. A staircase led down into a narrow, dirt-lined tunnel, not a basement at all. He grabbed a flashlight and descended slowly, each step sinking deeper into the damp earth. The air grew heavier, moist. There were markings on the walls, black veins spreading outward like roots. They pulsed faintly when the light hit them. At the bottom, he found a wooden beam with symbols carved into it. Circles, lines, eyes. Something ancient, something that felt alive. And beneath it, a hole in the ground, breathing in rhythm with the house. He crouched beside it, shining the light into the darkness. It wasn't a hole. It was flesh, a surface of skin, stretched and twitching, with small holes that opened and closed as if gasping for air. He stumbled backward, dropping the flashlight. The beam rolled across the ground, illuminating something else. A wall covered in faces. Not real faces, but impressions, pressed from the inside out. Mouths open, eyes hollow, frozen mid-scream. He ran back up the stairs. Halfway up, the house groaned. The floorboards above bent, expanding like lungs inhaling deeply. The entire structure was breathing. He burst into the living room, gasping. The walls rippled. The wallpaper moved, not peeled, moved like skin under pressure. From inside the walls, hundreds of whispers rose at once. Some pleading, some laughing, some calling his name. Ethan fell to his knees, clutching his head. And then, through the noise, one voice rose above the rest. Cold, calm, inside his ear. "You opened me." By morning, the house was silent, but even the silence felt alive. Every step Ethan took, the floorboards breathed. The walls seemed to draw a deep slumber. His eyes were still bloodshot from the horrors of the night. The phone had no signal. The door was locked, but worst of all, the windows no longer showed the outside. Behind the glass, only thick, twisting textures could be seen. It was as if the exterior of the house itself had been covered in flesh. Ethan went to the kitchen. On the table, a note, written in his own handwriting, trembled on the paper. 2 words, "Dinner is ready." At that moment, he noticed a plate in the center of the kitchen. Steam still rising. He lifted the lid, and on the plate lay a human heart. and the heart was beating. He stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. The heart's rhythm grew faster, matching the rhythm of the house itself. The walls inhaled. The ceiling rose. From every corner, a low hum emerged, like blood running through a living body. Ethan ran upstairs. The hallways were no longer the same. Walls shifted, doors merged into each other. The house was expanding around him. He began to cry in fear, but his cries did not echo. They were swallowed. Slowly, a hand emerged from the wall, soft like skin, but veins pulsing, touched Ethan's face. And then the wall whispered, "You're inside me now." All lights went out. The house took a deep breath and never exhaled.